started as a bedroom coder with my old Sinclair Spectrum back in the 80s. But I was from Brazil, right? There was no games industry there, so I had to find my niche. So I started working for a TV station, think like BBC, transforming their brands into games, mobile, web games, whatever. And I became good at it, and people recognized me, and then I was headhunted to join a MMORPG studio here in the UK. The rest was history. I think what drove me is passion for games and going at it. You have to go at it. You have to do games. You have to try your hand at them. Doesn't matter which role. You gotta find a partner. You gotta steal, rob. I don't know what you have to do, but you gotta do a game so you understand what you're doing. And with that, you break in.
Yeah, no, I started off as bedroom coder with Flash 7, so a little bit further along than Henrique. But yeah, made some cool stuff. Went to university, got a degree in game design. And then I was just really lucky. I got hired by Blitz Games, which is an amazing first job, who hired me straight out of uni, and then just kind of worked my way up through the ranks. Met Imre, one of the founders, and when he set up his own thing, I thought, yeah, seems interesting, and yeah.
Game, I would say, I could say a dozen of them, but I think Elite from David Braben is probably the biggest one, because it was the first game that took me out of reality into a complete, believable, and tangible universe. And that was a call for me. I say, wow, games can do that. It's not just this small sprites jumping on the screen. They can actually create a world out of this world. So that was the time where I say, oh, this is what I want to make for a living. So as influential, that's probably it. But I also take a lot of influence from music, TV, and film. I would like to say directors probably Cameron with Aliens is good, and Blade Runner is a good one. But yeah, it would be Elite. The game for me would be Elite.
Interestingly, the game that, I mean, obviously I played a lot of games as a kid, but the game that is the game that I think I sat down and played, and by the end of it decided I want to do this, was Shenmue on Dreamcast. And I now work with a guy who worked on that game, so that kind of, after I'd hero worshipped him for a good 2 weeks, that was pretty cool. And yeah, no, just for me, I think game design, it's essential to kind of have this breadth of influences. I think if you just play video games, you're kind of limiting your pool. So I love loads of things. I mean, you know, music's really useful. Film, TV, theatre. I'm massively obsessed with musical theatre, like to an extent that you don't see much in my field. Very few times you'll be in a games industry kind of conversation and someone will say, "I bloody love Wicked," but that's probably my biggest secret, ironically, which is a good context to bring that up. I think it's what he said. Make something. Just get a game made. So many game design students kind of write amazing documentation, or they'll have some cool concept art they come up with. But if you want to design games, if you're serious about designing games, there's no excuse to not make a cool game. The tools available to you, Flash, Unity, all these fantastic tools that you can get for free often, and just start playing with rules. But even beyond that, just make a card game. That some of the most impressive student work I've seen has been kind of in the form of a card or a board game, because they don't have access to the technology, or they don't feel they have the skills to do it. You can demonstrate in those kind of contexts that you can do the skill. I think that's the big one. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. There are so many forums these days on the web that you can just find people to pair with. And so if you're good at sound, you can find a developer. If you're good at art, you can find a sound artist to pair with you. And so many tools that make it very easy for you to create a mod or a small game that you can show you understand what you're doing. But my tip would be, on top of that, go hard at it. Put every single waking moment you have to waste on that, right? Absolutely. If you're not studying, you're not eating or sleeping, you should be making games, because that's how the successful people get it.
And once you're in industry, a lot of people carry on with that. Which is,
true. Maybe too much.
A little bit too much.
But people need to understand that they are up against people who do that, right? So if they don't put that much effort into it, they will not stand out from the people who do it. So you gotta give all guns blazing into it. Otherwise, you won't go anywhere.
Because there's a lot of competition and a lot of very talented people out there.